Hello there everyone, welcome back, and I'm here to be talking about The Last of Us Part 2. This is another game review I have, which I don't really do a whole lot of these. I've done a few, but for a game like this that I've been really excited for and looking forward to play, and it took a while to beat this game. About 4 days of me just playing it for a good lot of hours. I just have a lot I would like to say about this. And before I get into it, I'm just gonna say, like, I'll have it in the title and all, but it will be a spoiler video because, I mean, this game's already been out for almost a week at this point, and the leaks and all that, because someone, of course they had to, they just leaked the game to try to ruin it and dissuade public opinion, because a lot of people hated the leaks that saw it. I was one of the lucky ones that didn't see the leaks when it was, happening, and it happened like a month or two in advance, and everyone was like, this game's gonna be trash and it's garbage. And then, like, the companies are like, context is key, and they're like, there's clips and pictures, no context. Everyone was just saying the game would be trash without playing it, and I was really hoping that would be great. And I mean, to be fair, I've known some people that actually played the game themselves and still didn't really like the story all that much, which, hey, perfectly fine if you didn't like the story and all. That's understandable, because there's a lot of questionable stuff that happens in it that I could see why people would hate it. But for me, on the other hand, I thought this was easily one of the best games I've ever played. Like, no contest. Gameplay wise, story wise, it's really heartbreaking, it's really emotional, it has a lot of twists and turns, a unique style of telling its story that works sometimes, but also kind of doesn't in some aspects. But I'll just get into the main plot, and I'll break down why I think this game is a masterpiece. So, Last of Us Part 2 takes place about 4 years after the first game, and you're following the perspective of Ellie, who, after a tragic event happens, which you find out is Joel getting murdered by this new character, Abby, and a bunch of her friends, due to something that Joel did to screw them over in the past. Ellie goes on this revenge tale with her girlfriend Dina, and also Tommy's, Joel's brother from the first game, is also there, and they're also, while they're trying to get revenge for Joel, they're also looking for Tommy because they don't want him to get hurt. And along the way, another one of their friends from their Camp Jackson is Jesse, and he also joins on for a bit. So they're basically on their own journey. But while all that's going on and Ellie's getting her revenge and all that, some ways and pretty graphic. Like, there's this one sequence where, like, you don't see it from the person's POV because it would probably be really bloody and all, but from Ellie's POV, when she's trying to get information, she just beats one of the game members to almost pretty much to death. Yeah, beats him to death with a pipe. And it's just like, whoa, it was crazy. But while all that's going on, you actually get to play as the person that killed Joel, and a lot of people hate her. Her name's Abby. And there's like compilations on YouTube and all of people killing her off in every scenario they can, and she's horrible, her reasons were not justified, and screw her, and all that stuff. People are just hating on her, which, understandable. She killed everyone's favorite character from the last game. People say their favorite character is Ellie and all, but no, it was everyone's favorite character that I know of is Joel, not Ellie. That's just all the industry people. Oh, all that stuff. So I think they're both great characters, though, and I thought it was so cool. Like, we actually have like a big studio game that is like entirely female centric, pretty much. Like, because you play as Ellie, you play one scene with Joel, but then the entire game is either Ellie. And here's the real thing why people hate this game so much, I think, at least. Not only about, a lot of people did not like what they did with Joel, and how like, a lot of people say it was really like, not in character for how he gave up his names and all that stuff, which I understand. Like, the way they killed off Joel, I did not like at all, but story-wise, how it fits in, I do like, if that makes any sense. Like, I just did not expect Joel to go out like that, being the death with a golf club by Abby. That was not ideal. And then of course Ellie was there to see the final blow, which was horrible. But the acting in that scene and just throughout was phenomenal. Excellent performances throughout the cast, really. But Ashley Johnson, like when the Game Awards come around, if she doesn't like win, like that would be shocking because she should win for sure for best performance because this was great. Troy Baker, being Joel like usual, he's doing a great job. The Laura Bailey, I believe her name is, who played Abby. I know she's probably getting a lot of hate from people trashing on her and all that. She did a great job. I thought her character was really interesting because what makes this game so great is like she's the main villain and all, but you play half the game as her. That's what, because on the Steelbook, front's Ellie, and the back you see is Abby. So I was like, that's odd. Why is Abby on the back if you don't really get to play as her? I had no idea because I never knew about the leak. I didn't know about what was in the leaks. I had no idea that you play basically half the game as her because the main game takes place 3 days in where their camp and all is located, Seattle. So you play 3 days through Ellie's perspective, trying to hunt down Abby and her gang and all that stuff, and trying to survive the conflict between Abby's group, the WLF, I believe it's what it is, or yeah, I believe so. And then you have this cult group called the Scars, or the Serpentines, I think. Probably pronounced that wrong. And they're like just constantly fighting with each other, so she's trying to maneuver through all that to get her revenge. And then you have Abby's perspective where she basically is looking for her ex-boyfriend Owen, who got Mel pregnant, which is, has a bit of friction there, So while she's doing that, she gets abducted by the cult and is saved by 2 of the fellow cult members that are trying to escape. And they're like, like teenagers, so she like kind of feels obligated to help them out, and then she grows, to really care for them. And a bunch of stuff happens. Like, it's really interesting. Like, I just think that people just don't give Abby a chance because of what she did at the beginning. And that's mostly due, I think, to the storytelling perspective. Like, how the game's told is, so you have the opening and all, and what happens to Joel at the beginning without knowing anything about the characters and all, which I get set up that you find out later why they did that. But a lot of people just tuned the game out at that point, probably, and were like, screw this game because of how they did it. And they're like, the leaks were right. We wasted our money and all that. So then you play through 3 days worth of in Seattle from Ellie's perspective, killing off all the members and all, until a confrontation where Abby confronts Ellie, and then she's like, we let you both live and you wasted it. And then you cut to why Abby hates Joel, which of course it had to tie into the Firefly massacre at the end of the last game. It just had to. And Joel killed the doctor and a bunch of the other Fireflies, but the doctor was Abby's dad, and that's why she hates Joel so much. And so that's what sets into high gear why she's hunting them and all. And I just thought, I thought her story in the game was great. Like, I was really invested. I went in with an open mind because everyone was trashing on her and all. I was curious that we were actually able to play half the game as the villain. I thought that was really cool and unexpected. And the boss fights, I will say this, the boss fights for Abby are better than Ellie's boss fights. I'm just being real. Like, you have this abomination, I don't even know what it's called, Rat King or something, this zombie that you fight. It is gross, it's creepy, it was wild. Like, that was a hard boss fight. Even like the bloaters, like Ellie has 2 bloater boss fights in her playthrough that I remember. Those were way more tougher than the first game, I'll tell you that much. And I really respect that because they're supposed to be OP and really strong. So, because in the first game, you could pretty much take them out with 2 Molotovs. So this was great. I threw 2 of them at it the first time, and it was like this. It shook it off and then ran towards me, and I was like, uh-oh. So I ran it was pretty funny, because I was like, well, that ain't gonna work. So I was like, whoa. And they also introduced new zombies, like a Shambler, which is like, it's kind of similar to the Bloater, except it's kind of weak, but it has these acid bombs and it blows up, and damages your health. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, the Rat King's that was the other new one that I can think of. That thing, there's only one in the game, thankfully. I guess that's after, because it was locked down at the bottom of the Seattle hospital since Outbreak Day, like 30 years ago or over 30 years ago or whatever. So you can only imagine how long that took to manifest into all that. It was gross. It was crazy. But yeah, so of course they have a final confrontation where you actually play as Abby and you fight Ellie, which from some of the leaks that I was looking into after, because I was like, why does everyone hate this game so much besides the obvious? Oh, they killed off Joel in the beginning, you played half the game as his killer, blah, blah, blah. Because apparently now, I was just watching, the only one that I really watched about someone that knew about the leaks after I played the game was Angry Joe. He said that from the leaks, they said that you not only get to play half the game as Joel's killer, but that you kill Ellie at the end of the game, which was insane because that does not happen at all. That was probably clicked out of a scene where you fight Ellie. You have a sequence where it's similar to David and Ellie from the first game where you're hiding around trying to sneak attack Ellie, and you don't kill her at the end though, because the kid with the bow and arrow that you saved earlier, Lev, you would set a bad example and he doesn't want that. So she's like, don't even let me see you again. So she just leaves them after brutally head pounding Dina. She shot Tommy in the face, but he lives from that somehow, which good, because I'm tired of all these characters dying. And Ellie's just really beat up. And then, of course, after a year or so of her having a nice life with Dina and her baby on the farm, because Dina was pregnant, and she decides she has to finish it. Now, this is where the game could get annoying, because when you get to the end and you run into this biker gang that, like something like that, where they have people kept in cages and all this crazy stuff, you find Abby and she's all broken and just beat up and just like, she doesn't look like Abby basically. She looks really skinny and all. You get into a final fight, and as you're about to kill her, you just stop. And I was wondering why, but of all places, Watch Mojo, I was watching, top 10 Last of Us 2 moments. It's funny because the guy that narrated that, he actually made a good point. Now, hear me out on this. He made a good point. He's like, the reason why Ellie didn't kill Abby was because the situation that they were in would mirror what happened with Joel at the beginning, where in that situation, obviously Joel was the one that was killed, Abby did it, and then Ellie was the witness that would eventually want to get revenge. This sequence, it was Ellie was Abby, Abby was Joel, and then Lev would be Ellie in that sequence, which I thought was really fascinating and really well said, because if she did kill Abby and didn't kill Lev, Lev would probably want to get revenge somehow and find out where they live and could potentially kill them all or get a game to destroy Jackson where they lived. And if she did end up killing Lev, because it was setting up that she was losing herself throughout the game, where whenever something horrible happened, like at the beginning when she saw Joel die, it had this like ear ringing type of sound effect, which showed her just like going into more despair, or how she ended up Mel, when she killed Mel and Owen when trying to find Abby out of rage. She found out that after she did it, Mel was pregnant, so she killed a pregnant lady. And just all this stuff, horrible stuff that she did and ended up doing throughout the story was really hurting her mentally and physically. So doing that would probably be the last straw for her. So she just decided, she realized, I can't. Also, when you're playing as Abby and Ellie respectively, they each get 3 flashbacks, to spice up the storytelling, where while you're playing through each of the 3 days of their storylines to give more backstory and development for the characters. And of course, one of the main cliffhangers at the end of the first game was, Joel lying to Ellie about what really happened at the end of the first game at the Firefly, at the hospital. And through the course, this was so brilliant, through the course of the flashbacks, it's like each pivotal moments with them, and it's each telling like how their relationship is developing, how it's starting to deteriorate over time as Ellie starts to become more aware that Joel isn't lying to her about what happened, until the final one, well, the one before the final one, she gets like 4, I believe, or 5, where it's like the scene, it's just easily the best, saddest, shocking scene in the game. It's really, like, we knew it was coming, but it was really well done, well acted, on how Joel finally admits to her what happened, and that just destroys their relationship. I thought that was a fantastic scene. It was excellent, and it was really, really powerful stuff. And of course, the ending's horribly sad, and honestly, I respect the ending more now that I look at it from that perspective, but it was a gut punch. Like, this was a phenomenal game. I pretty much broke down most of the story for you, so I really did hope you played the game, because I did say spoilers. But yeah, this game was so devastating. The gameplay, I will say, it has a lot of similar elements to the first game, but there's lots of nice little touches. Like, I really hated this ability at first, where you can dodge the enemies and all instead of just outright attacking them. But I've grown to really, I was like, alright, it's getting better. The new weapons they have, I think the flamethrower in this game's worse than the last game, because it doesn't really do a lot of damage, and you don't have that much ammo for it because it runs out quickly since you have to use it so long to kill someone. You have like an assault rifle, you have all this, like a bow, of course, you get the bow back. You have a lot of really good weapons, is what I'm trying to say. The hunting rifle, and I mean the like how it looks, the game looks phenomenal. Like, it's one of the best looking games I've ever played, for sure. It's one of the best I've ever seen. Like, this is an all-around great game, guys. I was really invested. I really cared. I was loving every minute of this game for the most part. I just don't see why it has so much hate. Like, I get some of the reasons because of, what happened to Joel. People just cannot get over how you play half the game as his killer. The ending. Those are just some of the main things I think people don't like about this game. But I was seeing that people trash on it without even playing the game, or they just give up and don't finish it. Like, seriously, are you really able to judge it like that if you can't even finish the game? Like, I get that could be used to be like, the game's so bad I couldn't finish it. But come on now. I mean, me personally, I thought it was a great game. I know a lot of people disagree, for sure. I mean, for game of the year, I want it to win for sure, because I don't really think anything else is going to come out this year that'll rival it, personally. But hey, you never know. I mean, I heard it is voted on fans, so it probably won't win. The only thing it might win is for best performance, and maybe something for the technical stuff, because like I said, gameplay is phenomenal. It's some of the best gameplay I've ever played in a game. Story, I really liked personally, but a lot of people hate it, so it probably won't get anything there. But yeah, I've rambled on about this game enough. It's a masterpiece, guys. It's easily one of the best games I've ever played. And I'm being completely honest with you. I just thought it was a great game. But yeah, with all that said, those are my thoughts on The Last of Us Part 2. So what'd you all think of the game if you've played it? I hope you've played it if you've watched this video, because it's full of spoilers. But yeah, if so, if you want to hit the subscribe button, that'd be pretty great. Hit the bell as well to get notified when I upload. And if you want to comment down below what were your thoughts and all that, that would be pretty awesome. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's SawyerSable or @SableSawyer. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.